Good day. My name is Mercedes Moss, and it's Saturday, 13th April 2019, 2019 at 10:08 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm here to record a video on my understanding, limited it may be, of body resonance, but I had tried to record this video last night, but apparently it disappeared into cyberspace, so I'm doing it again. For that matter, last night's video, as I sun gazed, was very limited. So I'm going to try to define resonance and explain the concept of body organ resonance based on my current understanding of how the human body functions. And then I'm going to say why it's important, why body resonance knowledge or information is important for us to hold, even at a very simple level, because we can use the information to help our bodies to, grow better and to heal and to improve. And I make a disclaimer, I'm no scientist. I don't have a lot of information. I'm learning. So if you have questions, things you disagree with, please feel free to comment. Okay, so here's a definition of resonance that I found on Google Images. I cannot see it's a 2011 definition. I cannot cite the source. Apparently it's on SlideShare, resonators. So this definition now is really a definition of body resonance in relation to the vocal tract, but we will extract the key meaning. Basically, Crystal 2003 defines resonance as a term derived from the physics of sound. So resonance has to do with sound and used in acoustic phonetics to refer to those vibrations of air movement in the vocal tract which are set in motion by a source of phonation. So first, resonance is sound. It relates to vibrations. And as it relates to the vocal tract, we have to begin speech in order for that resonating chamber to become active. So the main resonance chambers of the vocal tract are the mouth, nose, and pharynx, and those cavities in their various shapes act to strengthen some of the frequencies present in the source of sound. And so what this is saying, again, resonance has to do with vibration, it has to do with sound, and it has to do with structures that can produce that sound. So since we're speaking about the vocal tract, and I am a vocal coach, having studied singing, with the Trinity College of Music up to grade 6 at least, I understand from all of my those studies that you need to activate, you can, as a singer, even speaker, even humans, the resonating chambers that we used to speak are the vocal tract, the mouth, the nose, the pharynx. That is because these are hollow areas. You need the nose to take the air in. The nose goes down, the air goes down to the pharynx where it meets the larynx, which is the voice box. Without that voice box, we would have no sound, but that voice box needs air going through it in and out to produce sound. You need the mouth, which is a chamber in itself. So you do have vibrations of air, and we have to make some kind of phonation or pronunciation or lettering or speech in order for that sound to be produced. But you must have something that produces the resonance. So in singing, this is a free tip, there are many ways in which you can produce that resonance. For that matter, in singing, resonance would be referred to as how you amplify the sound. So there are different techniques that you could use. I'm not talking singing now, but I'm just trying to bring across a point. You could do humming exercises. You can do exercises like in which you say NG. You can use the sulfus, that scale. the do re mi scale. Don't ask me the name. No, do fa do re mi fa do fa do do fa do. That activates the resonance chamber, so that the voice becomes fuller. It becomes more beautiful. It becomes more clear. So sound, vibrations. If you put your finger in a man over the larynx, the voice box, right? You say something, you would feel the resonance. For that matter, if you put your hand over your throat, you would feel as you speak a vibration. Breathe in, and when you breathe out, you will feel a vibration. So in order to produce that sound, all of that air is bouncing off the walls, there is a vibration. So that is the key concept that I understand by resonance. I'm not coming down to frequencies in the sound yet, because that's something I'm reading. There's a lot of debate over that. So I'm just trying to share what my current understanding is. So resonance is sound. It has to do, well, at least in the vocal tract, and it has to do with vibrations. So that's the key concept. Now, the other thing is that the human body is basically a resonating system. I don't know if you could see this. Let me see what would happen if I enlarge. Right. Principles of resonance in the human body. Again, I got this from Google Images, and it's from John Stewart Reed and et al. The simoscope.com. That's the website. So everything in the body resonates because the body is made up of structures that are not really solid. Well, maybe not everything in the body has some kind of, well, most of the stuff. If there's anything without a hollow structure, I don't know. For example, your brain is soft tissue. Your skull encloses the brain. The skull is a chamber. Even in the ears, you have a chamber. The throat is a hollow structure. The lungs themselves are soft tissues which have the ability to expand and to recoil. The abdominal cavity itself, we go back up to the heart. The heart is a hollow structure. It contains it's four chambers with blood vessels running in and out of it, and it's a passageway for blood. So let's come down again to the abdomen, the abdominal cavity. It's a chamber, and it contains organs which are themselves sort of like chambers. Right? Oh, we didn't even talk about the esophagus, the food passage. That food passage is a hollow structure. We come down to the abdominal cavity. The abdominal cavity is a chamber, and inside it we have organs like the liver, the spleen, the stomach. The stomach itself is if you want to say, a muscular chamber. We have organs like the uterus and the testes. Well, you can't really say they are they're hollow per se, the testes, but they do have structures inside of them. They're not solid, compact, masses like when you make cement. They do have structures in them. Then you think about the bones. The bones have a bone marrow, so there is something inside bone. You think about things like what else can we think about? Just expand, coming down to the cellular level. Look at that. Cells themselves are structures that contain, a semi-solid fluid called cytoplasm. And that means a cell is not, uh, it's not cement. It is, if you want to say, I don't want to say hollow, but it has structures in there. A cell selectively allows substances to come in and to go out, right? So scientists have been able to measure what they call PRF. I'm no expert, and so let's go back up. PRF is the prime resonant frequency. That is the frequency at which a structure in the human body naturally resonates or vibrates. So the prime resonant frequency in a cell is 1,000. The prime resonant frequency in the heart is 100 hertz. The prime resonant frequency of a whole person is 7 to 10 hertz. So you see that the prime resonant frequency of a whole person is lower than, say, for example, an individual structure. So, for example, the heart is 100 hertz, but how do you explain 1,000 hertz in the cell? No, I don't have the answer to that yet. But the cell really, maybe it is because the cell is the basic functional unit of life. And this is where all your life processes go on. There are a lot of complex activities that take place in and around the cell. And this little structure called the cell must be maintained in a particular kind of environment in which the fluid and the minerals in and around it must be at particular ranges and must at a particular composition in order for life to be maintained. So maybe that is why the PRF in a cell is higher than in the heart. So each component of the body has its own PRF. Okay, so let me just come back down to the cell. Cells can we said the cell, it's like the building block of life. Your body is made up of millions and millions of cells put together. Think about a house. You have, your house has a foundation and it has blocks. Well, the foundation of the body, there are life forces that are, there are hundreds of different types of cells: muscle cells, nerve cells, tissue cells, brain cells, cardiac cells, skin cells. Think of how wonderfully we are created. So you need these little building blocks to be maintained in the particular environment in order for life to be maintained. And at this point, I would encourage you very strongly to get that book by the lymphologist, Dr. C. Samuel West, because it explains in very great detail and very simply the kind of environment around which must be maintained around your cell, the dry state around the cell, the mineral environment in and around the cell, and how you can maintain that. That's the Golden 7+1. It's available on Amazon. Not too badly priced. You could get a used copy for 16 something US, and it's now a collector's item. It's very expensive. So let's move on. I hope that sort of answered. The whole body structure is a resonating organism, and that explains maybe why in the Bible, I have to talk Bible. In the Bible we clap, because clapping, what do you hear there? Resonance. There is a sound there. When you clap, you're resonating organs. When you jump, you leap for joy, you're rebounding. When you dance, you're activating resonance in muscles, in bones, in organs. When you laugh for joy instead of being depressed, you're activating resonance in your respiratory system, you're releasing substances from your body endorphins, and when things like, well, I just did a study on that the other day, but you're releasing substances that make you feel good. So it's important to activate resonance. So here I have found this table on researchgate.net, uploaded by Maria Lucia Machado Duarte, and it is about the resonance frequencies in hertz of different organs. I don't have all the answers yet, but I'm not trying to answer, I'm just trying to explain. Well, maybe I'm trying to answer too. Head, 20 to 40 hertz. Spinal column, 8 hertz. Resonance would be lower over bone and greater in hollow organs. Oh, that reminds me, I had a nice little point to make. There's a resonance in the chest wall is 60. That's where your lungs and your heart are located. Abdominal cavity 4 to 8 hertz, because in the abdominal cavity you have organs that themselves are, they're not, they are structures that would sort of reduce the resonance when collectively placed together. The shoulders are bony structures, so the resonance would be lower. Lungs, well, this says 4 to 8 hertz. Hands and arms, 20 to 70 hertz. Ocular, that's the eye in the eye globe, 60 to 90. The eye itself is inside a socket. The eye is not a cemented structure. It has, fluid in there, structure, it's so that's why the eye is, you could actually measure the pressure in the eye. Maxilla, that's the upper jaw, 100 to 200 hertz. I don't know if that's because the teeth are there enclosed in sockets, and maybe if you tap over the maxilla, you're also going to get some resonating, possibly effects from the oral cavity, and maybe a little coming from the, the structures over the face, maybe the hollow structures. So that reminded me now that you can actually Oscar listen to different body structures to determine their resonating abilities. For example, over the lungs, if a medical practitioner listens over your lungs, the lungs are supposed to, when you breathe in, you'll hear, you should hear a resonating sound. The sound of resonance, over organs is like a full sound that you get like when you beat a drum. So if there is fluid in the lungs, for example, it would decrease the resonance. So if there is, that's why you need to keep we need to keep our organs clear from congestion, clear from fluid and things like that. And so that talks back to our diet, because we know there are certain foods that produce what is called inflammation. Inflammation is a generalized body response to any kind of, substance that would cause it to release substances that would cause it in return to release excess fluid, and that, and substances that could cause increase mucus. Mucus is that slippery stuff that you produce when you have a cold or asthma. So what is it that we need to look at our food intake and reduce the inflammatory items. And it is well known that processed foods, have a resonance of 0. In other words, they are not living. Non-living foods, processed foods, I call them fake foods, would produce inflammation. But foods like living foods, things that can sprout, things that can grow, your fruits, your vegetables, your sprouts, your peas and your beans, things that can sprout. You ever notice it has happened to me repeatedly. I'd have carrots longer than I need to, and they would sprout. There are other foods that you can sprout. There are ways to sprout beans, So, these kinds of situations would produce inflammation, things that chemicals that we put in our bodies through, hair dyes, hair products, sanitary products, soaps and shampoos, and the stuff that we put in our clothes, detergents, etc., chemicals that we use for cleaning. All of these things can injure our cells and cause inflammation, and over time cause situations, the internal environment around the cells to change and set up illness and even death. So we need to keep our organs free and clear from inflammation. And one of the things we could use is diet. Let's see what else I have here. I don't think there's, okay. So one of the things I learned from the lymphologist is that one of the ways in which we could enhance resonance, even at the cellular level, we could enhance that vibration of cells and organs by rebounding or jumping on a trampoline. And you could get a trampoline reasonably cheaply on Amazon.com. Just read the reviews, find out. There are some that people say do not rebound very well. They're too stiff. So look for the ones that actually give you that rebound, that have some good reviews. You could enhance resonance in your body organs by tapping over your body from head to toe. Tapping just enhances that, that resonance, that bounce, cause help the organs to bounce. In fact, I tap daily, and one of the things I find is that by tapping, which also helps the lymph to flow. One of the first things I notice is that my body gets warmer. So if you always chilled, it means you need to activate your organs so that they're moving, help them to move, prevent them from becoming inert. You help them to function. The second thing I notice is that I have more energy. Third, I sleep much better. And then it seems to increase the strength in my muscles because I have this, what you call it, UB toner. I have it's sort of like one of those exercise things. That's a little thing. You have to squeeze your hands, together, squeeze it together. It's a resistance, exercise, tool. And I noticed I could do it with greater ease. So resonance is important not just from some broad scientific approach or paradigm, but for us in terms of what we use it for in the activities. So, hey, this was it. Resonance. I hope you found it useful. I'll go on to see if I could understand further about resonance, and when I do, I'll share that video with you. Okay, thanks for watching. Have a great day.